Hi there, and welcome to warming up the spine. We are going to start down here in the pelvis. We're going to be looking at our 3 planes of motion and then also looking at some horizontal vectors. So we're going to start with frontal plane. So feet parallel, knees soft, not hyperextended, and we're just going to drop one knee, and you'll find here that the pelvis drops down with the knee, and so we end up with a hike. Now, as we do this, just make sure that your weight stays even on your feet. So we see this picture, not this picture. That we are purely going side to side and not rotating as well. So we're checking in. Does that feel the same right and left? We're then going to look at rotational, so transverse plane. So keeping the shoulders still, we rotate the pelvis and see what's going on right and left. Now we can also check in sneakily with the feet here as well. So they should be pronating and supinating as the pelvis moves. Knees remain soft and extended, and we want to stay on top of our feet again as we rotate. We're then going to look at forwards and back, sagittal plane. Now, just going to take a little moment here to discuss what my mentor describes as a boat and a bell motion of the pelvis. As dancers, we tend to move our forwards and backwards motion like a bell. So if you picture a bell here with the dong 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 is going on there, if I tilt my pelvis forwards, I think we can agree that's a forwards pelvis, and then that's a backwards pelvis. But the top of my hips are still. So if I do this, you can just see my pubic bone travel forwards, my hips travel backwards. So this is the motion of the bell. Now, we actually want to look at the motion of a boat. So if we imagine now the top of my pelvis is the boat bobbing on the ocean, and I tilt forwards, come to center, and tilt back, you can see now that this is a very different motion. My hips stay still and the pelvis rotates forwards and backwards on top of my hips. So that's the motion we're looking for when we look at sagittal plane, to get some really good information coming up into the lumbar spine. As dancers, we will definitely use the bell motion because that's how we get a lot of our contractions and sharp isolations. But I just want you to have a concept of the two. So then we're going to look at our shearing. So the hips are going to travel to the side. And again, we stay nice and flat, and the weight will transition. So I go this way, and my weight's on the outside border of this foot. Traveling side to side. Keep all your toes firmly connected onto the ground. And hopefully you just see a little reaction with the spine as it comes into a nice side bend. Forwards and back, we're actually going to shear the pelvis forwards and shear it back. And when it comes backwards, it comes into a little bend. So it's just moving through space. Okay, so we're going to come with a horizontal plane, and we're looking at circular motions. So nice and rhythmic. Really feel like you're oiling your joints up. Other direction. Big wide circle. And this will actually mobilize the hips as well because of their close proximity to the pelvis. You can come through figure of 8s if you want to with this kind of work. So we're coming through center. Then we're going to come through with our hikes, and the sagittal plane, we're going to have a go at our boat motion and then the bell motion as well. So knees soft, we hike, we're then going to go forwards with the boat, hike backwards with the boat. Hike forwards, backwards. So we have that circular motion. Now, for many of us, this is going to feel very weird because we're so used to doing the bell version, which is this. And you can see here the top of the pelvis stays stable and the bottom of the pelvis does the moving. So we want to see if we can do both versions to warm up the pelvis. And again, you can work through figure of eights if you want to. Okay, so that's all possible motions within the pelvis. Check in right and left, are they the same? And then you can add in a nice flowing rhythmic motion, use it as a warm-up before class or before your training.